So if you can't tell, it's a little bit colder now. Like I said, Pennsylvania. It's about 30 degrees today. And I've been having a little bit of a problem with the diesel Jeep. And I'm going to show it to you. And then we're going to fix it, I hope. So, now that we're living in more humane conditions, we're going to attempt to fix two problems. One I knew about and prepared for. One I didn't realize till we pulled it in, and I'll show you if editing Barry, I guess, goes back and takes a look. You'll see it. Alright, so this is a grid heater off of a 4BT, 6BT. The 4BT did not come with any provisions for any type of induction glow plug type heater stuff. So we're going to add that in. So I already took off this plate a while ago because I wanted to measure it up, and I had thought about inserting a heater element into here, but there's two problems with that. Number one, this is really thin. I mean, really thin. So the odds of, you can't drill and tap it. I mean, it looks thick from the side till you get it over. It's really paper thin, so you're not going to drill and tap it. I've seen a lot of them where they had a boss here and they put a plug here. The catch with those is, A, I don't know what the thread size is because, you know, nobody writes this stuff down. And B, they, how am I going to put this? Like, it would be a whole lot of monkeying around. So I went online. This is an original Cummins part. There's all that information if you want to take a look at it. And it is built to accept this. Now, I couldn't find one of these brand new, so I got this one used. And I think it came out of Texas, hence all the dirt. We're not going to clean that up today. But this will heat the intake air temperature as it flows into the engine, and I have several items to make that happen. Like wire, I got a relay, I got a circuit breaker, gaskets, and a momentary rocker switch. We're going to use that inside the dash where I had originally pre-wired in all of my accessory switches down there. The only catch is like I said, one of them, like none of these are all permanent switches, and they only power up whenever the key's on. You know, so that one turns on and off my lights, but they stay. I'll probably take this guy right here and turn him into a momentary switch. That way, you can push the button, heat the grid heater up, but it doesn't stay on constantly. But what I didn't realize was I was leaking profusely here. I think that's new. I think I would have noticed it marking, oops, sorry. What I didn't realize was that I was leaking from here. That's fairly new. I think I would have noticed that much fuel leaking underneath my vehicle at all times. But this is the manual shut off, so you can kill the engine with it. I'd like to keep it, but I also don't know what seal is under it. I looked online, nobody else seems to do this, so there's I heard it's an O-ring. We're gonna take it apart and see if we can pull this spring and everything out, and hopefully it's just an O-ring behind it, and then we'll replace that. Hopefully stop up that fuel leak. Let's get started. So let's see if I can do this and not knock you guys on the floor. That's gonna be the catch. And I'm gonna take a wild guess that it's probably a 10mm metric. There it is. Yep, just like everything else in life, it's a 10mm. There it just kind of went. Sorry, I don't know how to film this and not have my hands in the way. There's a washer. Oop, there's a spring. Let's see if that is our leak. Well, hot damn. This is like a washer, and you can see it in there. That sure as hell is an O-ring. So let's see if I can get a pick and pick that out. Alright, let's try not to get my hands too far in your way here so you can see. There it goes. Harbor Freight picks for the win. Yep. Just an O-ring. And boy, is it hard. Alright, out of my O-ring kit, I think that's about as good of a match as you're going to get. It's definitely not very pliable. Like this one, oh excuse me, this one squishes a lot better. This one, if I squish it, I think it's going to break. But see if we can get this back on, see if it works. Okay. Goes in like that, and that goes in kind of like that. Just trying to. I hope that didn't affect anything. It appears I pushed the whole thing in. Might have to go back and review the footage of how this spring was on here. Sorry, I'm getting all in your way. Alright, that seems about right. Alright. Alright, I think I have to play with that some more. That does not look right. Alright, I'm going to take you guys off because I can't do this without you being in the way. So, I'm not sure how well this is going to turn out, but one of the problems I was running into is this spring. The first coil of the spring was down between this elbow and, you know, the plate, but I think I got it. Snaps back. and see if it still leaks. If not, maybe I'll try tightening it up a little more. So, the only other place that this pump could be leaking, I think, is right in here. And, like the fuel's bubbling over, probably leaking on top a little bit and just dripping down. That's actually the more common place for, for these pumps to leak. But for right now, I ordered parts. We'll see how quickly we can get them, but we're gonna move on. So I'm gonna shove some rags down in here and clean this up and get it ready for the new plate. Okay. All right. Guess you guys can see, I did end up buffing most of this gasket off. I had to use a razor blade back here in this corner and get it all good. And let's go ahead and dry fit this guy. I had to put 2 pipe plugs in it, but honestly, I guess it doesn't really matter which way it goes. Go this way or that way. Let's get that finger tight on there and start seeing how things line up. Okay? Alright, it's a little dusty in here, but as you can see, I cleaned up the gasket surface real well. Now, what we're going to have to do is, it doesn't matter, I don't think, if it goes on that way or that way, but we're going to have to kind of start piecing stuff together and lining up to see how things line up, because I have to get from here into there and also get my fuel lines and everything situated. So let's start loosely fitting stuff together before we make it permanent, you know what I mean? So now we've come to our first problem, which is this line here on the bottom. It clears pretty well, but this top one does not whatsoever. It rubs right pretty hard against that bolt. So what I think I'm gonna do is try to put this over, well, it's either that or I put a kink in it. If I put a little bit of a in that line, it might help. Let me ponder on this for a minute. Alright, let's go with things that took way longer than I expected them to for 200, Alex. So, I took this bracket and flipped it, and it did line up here, although I do have to push out on a little bit right there, and I cut, there used to be a double nut there, I cut one of the nuts off, and that's where that ended up. I'll probably put a little blue Loctite on there, but I mean, I don't see why it would move, but it gives me just a little bit of an air gap around there. Then this guy is no longer attached to anything. It just, the both lines are just kind of clamped together, as opposed to on this side where this clamp actually holds it fast. This one not doing so much. It's all kind of relying on this guy, which if he's tight, it should be okay. Know what I mean? So now that we got all that figured out, and pretty much everything else is just gonna go right back where it was, I'm going to work next on figuring out my charge air pipe and how it's going to get over to there. I don't know at the moment, but I got a bunch of that stuff laying around, so let's see what we can come up with. So I think I got her about all figured out. Got Got my intake charge pipe, which is even more straighter and more of a sweep than it used to be. I got clearance around everything. There is a gap there. There's a gap here as well. You know, I can stick my finger under. But I think until I get my injection pump figured out, I think I'm gonna have to call it right there. As far as putting stuff on for good, or at least mocking up this stuff. So we're gonna tear this all back down. I'm gonna leave this off, probably. And when I take the fuel injection lines off, I'll leave them off too. But I'm gonna start putting this and these on for real, for the first time, for the last time. And then we'll go to wiring. I'm thinking right about here would be pretty good. It's a nice flat tray area. I was at one point going to add a second battery to this thing, but I haven't needed a second battery. So yeah, I'll let you know how I go. Oh, and I couldn't find a gasket for under here anywhere, so we're gonna go with some of that. It's for high temperature, so at up to 650, so I think it'll live pretty well under there. Okay, tear it apart, see where I get. So let's recap a bit. I used the gasket sealant down here. That's on. It looks like absolute crap, I'm not gonna lie, but if it bothers me enough, I'll eventually paint the engine. Some of these bolts I know do have to come back out, but they're torqued down for right now. So as far as the electrical controls, here's what I come up with. This is a circuit breaker. This is the line it's going to go out to the battery. It's not terminated. Should reach hopefully the whole way across to the battery. And then as long as this is not tripped, it is going to supply power over to this side. This is, in case you couldn't figure it out, a ground. I'm going to attach switched power here. This is just a big relay. So what it's going to do is whenever I hit the button in the dash, it's going to send power to this side. That's going to go here, which is going to close, energize this circuit, send power from here up to the glow plugs. The reason they're all snaked this way is because of the way it lays out in the Jeep. Number one, I could pretty much pre-terminate these two right off. Actually, if I would have been thinking about it a little bit more, although I don't know, now that I just said it out loud, I might have put this where this is and this where that is, but then I also, you know, want to leave that as accessible as possible, so maybe I would have left it to the front. But anyways, this is going to go back over here. It's going to run probably up over top, and instead of connecting directly to the battery, I might run it over to here, which really is 6.5 dozen. Anyway, then from this side of the switch is going to run, or excuse me, of the glow plug relay. It's going to run over to here and connect to one of these two, and I'll probably run it back. So I'm probably going to have like two power wires coming from here and going. One's going to continue on and go to the battery, and then one's going to jump off somewhere in here and you know, tally ho, lay low. Alright, let's see if I get this all shoved in. Alright, let's recap. Got that in. This red wire runs the whole way over and connects to the battery here. I'll probably add another zip tie there, but you get the idea. It just runs over here to the battery, straight 12 volt positive. That 12 volt positive connects to this side of this glow plug relay. Well, actually no, it comes in to this side of this 200 amp breaker, and then across to this side. As long as the breaker's open, you know, we're good. Then it goes over to this side of the glow plug relay, and then I ran out of that red wire, but luckily I had this heavy tactile gray wire I found in my bucket of things that I should have threw away a long time ago bucket, and it runs up to here, up, back around. I actually routed it just to try to clean it up through the lifting eye, and then over here to the grid heater, and then the grid heater obviously is grounded here. I think I'm good with that. Not real happy again about the fact that this is all orange. I might actually just take and smear some black over top of it. Wonder if that would work and make me happy. We'll see. But that's functionality wise, it's fine. Again, my injection pump still leaks, so I'm not putting the lines back on or this thing back in because I'm probably taking a lot more off here shortly. Parts have been ordered. But now we're gonna go inside and connect into that thing. Shouldn't take but a minute. All we're looking to do is, I think I'm going to do this one and just swap him out for a momentary one, because this one runs the lights to the front and I'd rather just keep that like it is. Eventually one day I'll label all these. Alright. Alright. Now with the help of my lovely assistant, horn blows. Go ahead, George. Key on?
Yeah.
Alright, now hit the switch. Oh. Well, it was smoking, but earlier, but oh, you can smell it. All right, George, you can turn it off. Ooh, I can feel the heat coming. Put your hand in here. Like, don't put it in real far, but stick 2 fingers in there. Yeah. You can feel it? Yeah. Alright. That's going to be it for tonight. Like I said, I can't put it the rest of the way back together because we got a leaky injection pump. Yeah. I thought I fixed it and then it turned out I didn't. So we're going to move some stuff around so the wifey can park in here. George is going to give me a hand. He doesn't know it yet, but he just found out. He's going to give me a hand for a minute. But we're going to move some stuff out of the way here so that way this can go forward and then the wife can come in and not hate her husband, which is important to me. So it's the next day and I found, trying to see if I can find it in the camera, there it is, my cam timing doohickey. It was a little tight. I got it broke loose. I had to use a pair of pliers and kind of rotate and pull, but there it is. It is plastic. But what I also found out that I didn't know was my quote-unquote timing nut cover oil doohickey is screwed on. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to be zoomed in like that. Yeah, my oil pump doohickey was screwed on. So that thread's in, so you have to unthread it. And once again, I'm gonna have to wait on some specialty tools. I don't think I'll be able to rotate it too much. Although, I am wondering, because I believe that is a nut on the center of the crankshaft. Rather than pull the starter, if I could just rotate around by hand or even rotate around with that. It looks like a right hand thread, so by pulling on it, I mean, again, I'm going to do this with a wrench, not an impact gun. Pulling on it, I don't know if it's going to rotate or not. I might consider this here for a minute, but we'll see what happens. Okay. So, in case you're wondering, with a 22 millimeter on a 1/2 inch breaker bar, I do not recommend trying it. I gave it a little pull, once again tightening it, and all I did was turn the nut. So we're not going to do that anymore. Might have to get the official tool, but I'm going to crawl underneath and take a look real quick. So, I'm going to admit it was a struggle, but I found the plug that covers the barring overhole. And on your 4BT, it is right above that 4-bolt plate. Let me see if I can, hold on, let me see if I can move that. Oh, there we go. I can see a little better. Oops, sorry, my camera keeps getting in the way of the light, and the light keeps on getting in the way of the camera. And focus. It will not focus. Let's try. Anyway, you can see it. There's that 2-bolt plate. I took that off initially thinking that was it, but it is very much not. And then I scratched my head for a little while, and then I watched a YouTube video or two, and then I discovered it was over there. So, yeah, we're definitely up against it. Oh, and I took the paint off here because I wasn't quite happy with it. I know, it's an old diesel engine in an old Jeep, but my idea originally is to make this, you know, paint it up and make it nice one day, and I'm not getting there this way. You know what I mean? It'd be nice to paint stuff as I go. But anyway, there it all is. I gotta order parts and tools, and then we'll get back to this in another day. In the meantime, I got some other stuff to take care of. Alright. So, I got a seal kit, which will probably only use like this O-ring, and I think that seal from it. I got the cranky turny over thing, the fancy tough to get to wrench thing, and the gear popper offer thing. Altogether, there's like $30 here. So what I gotta do now is get that plug, and what I read online says you should take it out and try to see in and spin it until you see the whatchahiggy pop up, the little divot, and then use that to perfectly align it. The cranky thingy goes, like I said, right, oh wait, up, right into there, and that should be how I can bar the engine over and get everything lined up. So we'll see how this goes, because I don't have great feelings that it's going to be smooth. Alright, so I don't know if it's because I don't have the original flywheel, because like right there you can see a little chunk of metal, but that thing's a son of a bitch to get to, I'm not gonna lie, and it seems like all it's doing is chunking off either bits of my flywheel or hopefully just bits of this, although I don't really feel anything, which bothers me. But this is not working, so we're going extreme. I'm going to take off, oh boy, let me get a light on there, because I just realized how dark that looks in the camera. I'm going to take off the crankshaft pulley, which is, well, let me see if I can get a better view. Excuse me. Yeah, which is right down there. It's held on by 4 bolts. I already got the belt loose. I'm going to take them 4 bolts off. Sorry. And then probably take that pulley off, use it as a guide to make a widget, and then the widget is what's going to I'm going to use to turn the crankshaft, because I can't spin it with the belt. Okay, never easy. So I know this is going to be a little hard to see, but I put my ratchet on to loosen up the bolt end. I don't know if you can see that, but that sucker turns, like, I'm not going to say super easy, but you don't have to build a bracket for it. Alright, on to plan B. So, honestly, I'm waiting on my dad to show up to put this thing into time, but that nut didn't really have a whole lot to it. I just kind of put a ratchet on and I was like, wonder what it takes to loosen this thing up. So I gave it a quick smack like you would a radiator fan, and like on a Chevy, and yeah, it came right off. So yay, we're good with that one. Alright, once Dad gets here, we'll time this thing up. So I can't see the bottom one, but I got the 2 of the 3 nuts holding it on off. I also mocked that up tentatively. I don't think it has to go very far. There is a little bit of an air gap under it. Once it pops that Morris taper, it should actually pop pretty quick, but it's definitely, like, it's not going to fit inside the housing. Like, it's definitely, like, there's an air gap, but it's definitely tighter than I thought it would be. So now I gotta disconnect my fuel line, my boost reference line, and my return fuel line, which is like underneath that one there. I don't know if you can quite see it, but we'll get all those off and see if we can pop this sucker off. My goal for today is to get it off. Alright, so quick recap. I was not able to get this line off. It is stuck between these 2 fittings. I'll show you that better on the bench, hopefully once I get it off. But it is, you know, it's off back air. The return fuel line, I got off here, but it goes somewhere. I did take it off a bracket in down there somewhere. And then I had my reference line, which didn't come apart right either. It threaded right out of there, but I just disconnected at both sides. I took this washer out, tightened up that bolt, which should lock out my distributor. Oop, dang it. This is stupid. That bolt right there. You take this washer out and then you tighten that bolt up all the way and it locks your distributor out at top dead center. I had planned on showing you tightening that up to see, you know, how difficult it would be, and I meant to just snug them up so you guys weren't just like watching me, you know, get right to the action. But I think it came loose. So, because I mean, there's like, see right, or they all stripped out, because there is like no effort on them right now. Like, I don't even have to pull, and they just go in. So I think that's good. Or like I said, I stripped them out and we're in bigger trouble. But anyway, I'll see if I can get this thing loose and off. So, things that are in the way that I didn't know about. Right here is a bracket that apparently holds this plate, and to get that off now. Doesn't look super hard. I'm going to take this guy out, and I think there's one on the other side. And then this nut, yeah, there's one over here, right over there. I'm going to take those out. And then that bolt. They really didn't want that thing going anywhere. Yeah, it almost looks, let me get my light around. Sorry, I'm trying to look into a 3-inch screen. It almost looks like you could take it off down there, but I think, yeah, that bracket goes underneath the pump here, so we're not going to do that. But I can't make it move that way with that bracket going up behind that plate, so the plate's got to come off. Okay, one more thing to do. So now my hands are covered with diesel fuel and I'm holding my camera. There was 4 bolts holding that on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was wrong. I thought they were Torx. They're Allen heads. But believe it or not, a T30 fit. So that's what I took them out with. Yeah. 2 shorts, 2 longs. But now this sucker should come right out. So I spared you some of the drama. But I did end up having to take this line off because that other line actually slides inside that collet, and I didn't realize that. But yeah, once I got it loose and held my mouth just the right way, it came right out. It's over here on the bench. I'm probably done for today, but see how I couldn't get these 2 fittings separated, and I still can't. It's whatever it is, but I'm gonna play with it some, and then I gotta get cleaned up, and we're gonna go. It's about Christmas time. We're gonna go to a Christmas party. Yeah, we're gonna change out this seal and this head seal for sure. Okay, done for today. So I got it loose. I had to take it off. I had to actually bend. Sorry, why am I so zoomed in? I had to bend the line up right about here. I kept all the bending into here. Bend it up and then twist it out because this was the only part that would come loose. I couldn't get this loose. I had to use some heat, but I really didn't want to burn my whole fuel injection pump to the ground. Like, replacing this line would be a lot cheaper than replacing this whole pump. But we're gonna call that done for today. I might see about soaking this in something, but we're pretty much yeah, I gotta get cleaned up. Keep not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, you know what I mean. This needs fixed, but we need to make the wife happy too. Take her out, 'cause she lets me buy stuff. Okay. One other thing too, to tell if you're in time with your injection pump, that keyway should line up with that notch. And that means you're at top dead center with this guy too. So now for real, I'm gonna go get cleaned up. It is a cold snowy day, but we got work to do. What I'm gonna work on right now may seem a little boring, but we're gonna do it. I stopped by my little auto parts store, picked up some of this fine material. We're gonna hose this thing down and get it as clean as we can given the circumstances. I don't want to hose it with water because, well, water and fuel won't go well through the engine, but we're also gonna, you can't tell what time of year it is again, we're also gonna clean some of this area too, just because we need to. Alright, the other main thing I'm going to try to do real quick is get us some room to work, because I got timber lock screws, 2 grinders, wire, zip tie pullers, nuts, sheet metal screws, all kinds of garbage laid out here. So I'm going to skip ahead and just do that. Alright, we got her cleaned up a bit. Like I said, I used that gunk and then hosed her down with some good old-fashioned brake clean, because, well, I don't like the idea of getting water into an injection pump. That's just a bad thing, and plus it's, you know, 12 degrees out. I got it clamped into a couple boards. That could have been a lot better, but I'm just kind of, you know, grabbing whatever's in hand. It's not gonna fall. I'm gonna have to hold on to it if I torque something, and I'm only gonna do this seal and this seal, because those are the only 2 that need to be off engine. I change my mind a lot, and sometimes it's good to know when you're indecisive or you're not planning on keeping stuff forever, or however it is. And there's a pretty good chance that I could end up getting a different pump, maybe even swapping over to a P pump setup at some point. I don't know. So at the very least, eventually I'll probably put a governor spring in here, and whenever I put a governor spring in, I might as well change that seal out then, and, you know, be all good. You know what I'm saying? So alright, let's swap my battery out because my phone's dying. You can see it was originally tan. That was the original color. Guy before me painted it black, and I just followed suit. Paint it black and don't look back. I work at, well, what is right now Norfolk Southern. It might be UP by the time this airs. But, by the time you're watching this, but that's kind of one of our mottos is, you know, paint it black, don't look back. It don't look like oil if it's all black. You know what I mean? Alright. So, here we go. The moment we've all been waiting for. Well, why would it be 11? Might be a 12. Okay, we'll start with, take this guy off. Ooh. And there is a copper washer under him. Oop. Damn it. There we go. Alright, that worked out pretty good. Now we're going to turn it back upright. Maybe. Sorry if you missed any of that, but I just needed to hold that a little better. You know, every half-hour job's one strip bolt away from taking, you know, 14 years. Feel them springs kind of give them way. There's the O-ring I thought was leaking. Oop. Huh. My springs just kind of stayed in there. See down in the pump. Oh, you know what? I forgot to push down with my screwdriver, keep everything in. But it looks like it's still in. I got lucky there. It doesn't seem like anything moved. The tweaker in me wants to clean this up, but the other part of me says to just leave it the hell alone because, well, quite frankly, it seals on the inside on this O-ring. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get my seal kit. That right there is the O-ring. Let's get some picks and stuff. Alright, it's this guy here. And she is not good. Just stabbed myself. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but she is very flat compared to the new one. So let me, oh, there it is. Sorry for the furnace running constantly. I keep it up next to my workbench because, you know, that's where it's the warmest. But you know, it's kind of nice for me. It's like single digits outside right now, which is tell you what, let's just take those out. That's a lot more proud. So supposedly you can take ease off, which I'm gonna guess about a 14. Might have to put this in the vise. Oh my! Huh. Maybe I should have loosened them up before I took it off. Let's see what we can do. There we go. So we got that guy out. There's a little washer and a thing in there, and then in here it's like a two-piece plunger doohickey. Oop. And there's like a spring and a little doodad in there. You can. Oop, there it is. Dang it. There's that little doodad. Spring. And then there's this thing. Tap. And then a copper washer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clean these up real quick, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I don't have my workbench ain't too level. Still recording, right? Yeah. I'm gonna put the doodad in. Spring. And your two-piece plunger doohickey. Make sure that's clean. need a washer. Looks like that guy, right? Yep, I'd say it's that guy. So I'm going to take him up like this. There we go, we got them all nice and snug down, and then by wire wheeling that, cleaning it up, makes it kind of easy to tell which one you've already done. I don't have a socket for this. I might take out these two and then see if I can get on that and see if we can change anything under there. I didn't see anybody else do that in a video, but if there's a copper washer and I disturbed it, it would make sense. Alright, we don't like that. Now it's bigger than 19. Well, I think we're just gonna have to leave that one alone. Sorry if I chickened out on you guys, but sometimes. Alright, got them all done. Like I said, if I had the right socket, I might try that, but I'm afraid of like just stripping out. Plus it, it wasn't leaking from there. Of course, now I said that, it's probably gonna leak from there, but I don't think that'd be too hard to do on the truck. Future garage is gonna have like 4 vices. Oh, I should get some grease. No, gesundheit. So from what I read online and saw online, this divot has to go into this pin, and there is a doodad or button. Oh yeah, it's right there. Okay, my button is down in there. Whew, that was scary. that goes in there. They said with the taper up. Yeah, there's like an edge on it. Edge up. Just a little bit of grease. Kind of hold it. And then this doodad go into there. Sit kind of like that. Oop, there we go. So anyway, what happened was this thing fell over, and this spring goes into here, and thank goodness one of them stayed together. A little bit of dirt on that. Which will stay on there. It's got like a cap, and then on top of the cap is like a washer. The cap has a little divot to it. See what I mean? Oh wait. See what I mean? It's got like a little divot. And the divot goes in, and washer or shim goes on top. Now, I said I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible. Like, I would love to clean this, but I also don't want to knock any gunk down in, so it's kind of a catch-22. But I'm going to put a little slather of grease all the way around. And one of the other things I'm going to do is, once I get this thing together, I'm going to leave the fuel injection lines off for a little bit, and I'm just going to crank it until I get fuel coming out pretty good. And we'll call that done. But anyway, you got these aren't straight across from each other. They're at a little bit of an angle, but hopefully that was it. Now I'm going to use the 4 bolts that are this size. I know I'm going to clean this one up because if for some reason it's cruddy. And we're going to draw this down nice and even, okay? Alright, so the bolts are not, I don't know if you can see that, they're not exactly the same length. So what I'm going to do, I think I got this one in the wrong hole already. So I'm going to put a little grease on this one. Good. I'm going to put this bracket back on that these bolts travel through. them all down. Just touch them. Touch. There we go. Might need an extension. Alright. Do that again. This one's up a little bit now. Just keep going. You hit any resistance, stop, move to a different one. So these weren't super tight to begin with. There we go. Alright, that's that head seal replaced. So while I got it off, we're going to go ahead and take this guy off. And this guy. And there should be an O-ring behind each one, especially this one, because you can't reach him. Oh, sorry, you can't reach him with the engine on. This side's against the block, hence why it's still tan. Their painters are better than mine, you know. Sorry if the lighting's a little off, but damn it. O-ring. Green one looks about right. That one came. So I had to undo this line. There's a shim underneath this one. So before I start, I kind of want to see if I have the right seal even to replace it with, which it looks like I do. There it went. All right. Woo. And I don't think we hurt nothing. All right, looks like I did put like a very, very small little nick. Oh, there's a piece of trash. Very small nick into there, but that's not in the sealing surface. So I'm not too worried about it. You can do that 2-screw method too. I was just I was just kind of, oh, I should put a little bit on there too. There, I like that. 13/16. Just a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Alright, I'm going to double check, and I think it's ready to go back on. Like I said, there's seals in here, but I'm not going to touch those today because I can first off do those later, and second off is I don't know that I'm not going to end up taking them right back apart anyway next summer and put a governor spring in, because that idea is in my mind. Oh, and I also, you know, of course earlier I did change the fuel shutoff O-ring, but I'm going to see if there's anything else that I feel is worth my time. I'll get back to you. So, if what all that has transpired so far hasn't been a big enough kick in the teeth, I don't see a fuel injection pump mounting gasket. Like, I got a bunch of stuff left over. I'm not gonna throw it away, but yeah, I'm missing that gasket. Anyway, I did buy some paint because I'm a little bit touched in the head, and decided to touch up some of the spots that I normally wouldn't be able to reach, and, you know, give that a nice coat so it kind of matches, I hope. And we might still have to touch up some of that. Daggone it. Anyway, I don't know, I cleaned this thing with brake clean like 8 times and I'm still getting, you know, fish eyes. Must just be in the metal. Well, I'll give it a little bit, it'll be dirty as the rest of it. But yeah, I'll take a look around, because I thought there was one in there, but I'll be damned if I know what I did with it. I'll probably find it 10 minutes after I Amazon the next one. Or actually after the next one's here and I put it on. Know what I mean? We all know how that works. Anyway, it's good enough for today. I'm gonna shut her down. Well, yesterday we went to Maryland. Today, I'm putting this sucker back on. Yeah, I'm gonna dry fit this first. I got the gasket. Napa had it. That's the part number. Yeah, let's dry fit this thing first, and then we'll go from there. So I'm back from Maryland. We went to Ritchie Brothers auction down there, me and my dad. There's the Napa Fel Pro gasket number. But I'm going to check and see if that gasket fits, and then if it does, we're going to go ahead and I'll dry fit this thing first. Make sure everything's good, and then we'll stick it together for real. So anyways, grease, and I also put that keyway at a little bit of a pitch so that, you know, it has an easier time sliding in it. If you have it too much the other way, it won't, you could push it right up out. But I'm gonna try a stab at it in there real quick. I hope all my stuff turns out. You get a little better look at the tick mark on there. But let's see how this works. Sorry, I kind of been in the zone of just putting stuff back on, but as of right now, I got the plate back on, return fuel line back on, these 3 nuts back on. If I never, ever, ever, ever have to put that bottom one back on ever again, it'll be too soon. That sucked. But I think we're doing good. I did advance the timing just a little bit. It said you can go like 1/8 of an inch and still be fine. So I went, no, it's tough to see here. I went just a little bit. Just a little bit above. But we'll see if that works. Anyway, putting the nut back on before I do. Sorry. If I had one of those fancy studios, wouldn't have these problems. But anyway, just to make sure oh shit, there's no key in there. Fuck me running. Remember what I said? Yeah. Jesus fuck. Thought it was in there. Well, I saw that and my heart dropped, but I don't know if I can show you this. I'll try. See that glob of grease right there? There was a keyway stuck to it. Bump, ba-dump, bump. Alright, we're gonna undo that all over again. So I was thinking of adding this to one of my, if I was to do this again, I would change. And that is to chase these threads, because I had to take it off anyway, especially the ones that are harder to reach, because I had to take my injection pump back off. Those nuts were next to, especially that bottom one, next to impossible to get started. I mean, it was bad. So I'm just going to take a second here, chase all these threads, and hopefully Barry 10 minutes from now will appreciate it more. Alright, gonna stick that back in the hole. So I'm gonna try peening it, because after a while I almost lost this stupid keyway like 3 times now. Alright, that sucker is in there. I can't even push it around, so we should be good. I filed the sides down too. Let's do this one more time. So without too much ado, you can actually see the keyway in there. When I inserted this correctly, I had to draw the gear on. Like it went a little bit, and then just enough to get a couple nuts started on the backside, and then I put the nut on. I couldn't even get the washer on, and I tightened it down and I drew it on. But you can definitively see that keyway in there. If you do not see that keyway, or it just slips right on, you got a problem. And ask me how I know, because I did it like 12 times. I dropped the key in there, like 3 of them, which was horrific. I do highly recommend, what do you call it, peening that keyway and then like kind of tapping it in so it's fixed. That seems to be the key for me. But anyway, I'm going to put the nut on now, wherever I laid it, right there. There's the nut. And with a big dose of blue Loctite, we're going to tighten that sucker down. These nuts back here right now are just snugged. And then I'm going to loosen them up, and I'm going to make sure I set it. The other thing is I'm back to the keyway. Remember I said I set it and then, you know, moved it up a little bit. It appears that I am right back to where I started. So that to me is another good point, and I might just leave it there just in case my timing's off just a hair. In case that gear rotated maybe a tooth. I don't know. Alright. More progress. Let's go. Alright. We got everything kind of loosely bolted up. We got the battery on charge. This is the gut-wrenching point where you try to figure out if you did everything right. I did roll it over by hand. It does roll. So the odds of us doing super catastrophic harm are pretty small. I do not have the fuel lines hooked up to the injectors, basically because I was thinking I would try to like pump some fuel through it, and hopefully if there's any junk in there, it'll just kind of come out. I know it's going to make a mess on the floor, but what do you do? I replaced as many O-rings as I could find, or copper washers. I did lose this guy for a hot minute. That was a little nerve-wracking, but we got her back. Alright, take a break. Be back in a little bit. I keep putting that wire in the way, this stupid thing. But honestly, it's kind of been in my way the whole time too. I'm gonna go eat some lunch and then throw up in my hat. Alright, I just gotta try it. It may or may not. I don't know how dead the battery is. Alright, it's been a little bit. We'll try cranking her again. Well, it didn't pressurize, so I guess I shouldn't be too excited, but I didn't see any signs of any leaks, and it seemed like I got fuel coming out of all 4 holes. So I'm going to let that battery charge back up. I got to run into town for a minute, and we'll see if we can bleed some fuel lines. Alright, I know you can only see a couple of them, but see if we can bleed the lines out with the injectors. Alright. See if it does its thing. Cross your fingers, everybody. That wasn't good. So, unfortunately, here's where we're at. This has to come back off, no matter what. I'm waiting on my dad to come over so we can retime the engine. You see me take it off once before, but I'm going to take it off again. My problem is most likely in the head. So, I'm going to go ahead and take that off and just see what I can see. If there's something glaringly wrong, I will go ahead and fix that and maybe give it a try again. But I just got off the phone with a reputable company. I'm not gonna say any names because it just is what it is. But I was looking on eBay. A brand new pump for this thing's like $1,200. I was like, well, how much is it to go through it and rebuild it? About $1,200. So, here I am. Looking at spending $1,200 or $1,200. If that's the case, I'm probably gonna go brand new, just because, by the time I send this one in, it will, let me say, I send it in and it will, it takes time, and I'd like to get this done sooner than later. So that's basically where we're at. That's basically what I'm going to do. And yeah, I'll let you know whenever I get this thing off. It's disappointing, but when you hot rod, you got to deal with hot rod issues, you know what I mean? Alright, got it off. Let's see if there's anything obviously wrong with this stupid thing. Because it looks like rebuilding it is the same price as replacing it, which kind of boggles my noodle, it bakes my noodle a little bit. But let's just see what we can see, shall we? I'm not seeing anything. Oh, damn it. I did just do that though, didn't it? Well, I played with it. I don't see anything. I'm gonna review some information. I'm thinking whatever's wrong is under here, which I didn't touch. Which makes me think that this thing might be a bit more in need of a rebuild. But I need more information. I'm gonna go in and try to figure it out. So, you ready for the smoking gun? Right there it is. And you know what? I knew it was that way when I took it apart. I just assumed it was supposed to be that way. But this collar should rotate and slide, and it does neither. I definitely need a new injection pump, because like unless I get a parts one and fix that, this one's toast. Ha! Well, at least it wasn't any of my doing. Win some, lose some. Alright, I'm gonna go back in the house and do some other stuff. So a quick phone call later, and about one day, not even one business day, one day later, I have my newly found to me injection pump. Because, well, let's face it, this guy's gonna have to go. I said there's no way for me to fix this, and I don't think it's anything I did wrong. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and take this fitting out and a couple other things, and go ahead and get this guy ready to ship out. Compare any, contrast any differences there may be between the two. But if you're wondering where I got it, right there it is. I do highly recommend them. I called them at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and I didn't pay for extra special shipping. Now granted, I'm in Pennsylvania too, but it was on my doorstep by noon Saturday. This guy. Now they do have a core return policy, so I got to get this thing sent back to them. But for the moment, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and transfer my fuel pin in, look it over, make sure there's nothing else I need, and get her shipped out. Alright, today's the day. I think I finally got another one of these, and it's time to throw that sucker back on. Let's see how this goes. By the way, I did film a lot of this before. Nothing has really changed. So I'm probably just going to slap this sucker together and then skip to where we fire it off. Just once again, see that keyway in there? Lined up with my yellow paint stick mark to indicate TDC. At least as far as I can tell. Anyway, works for me. I'm gonna go ahead and put the nut back on. Then I can, oh, dang it, sorry. And then, once I get the nut back on, line my marks back up, so they're all good. And get all those hard to reach nuts on, snug them down. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna bounce around a little bit. So, this new pump does not have, I'm sorry I'm getting a lot of you can see a lot of the fuzz and junk on my fillet lens, but there is no mark on it for, you know, advanced timing. So what I'm going to do is just leave it the hell alone. It is where it is. It's where it bolted up. It is where 0 is on the pump, and it is locked out. So I shouldn't have to touch anything, but I'm going to continue hooking stuff up. One other thing I did that I wanted to talk about is that right there. I just added a plug to the end of that wire because it's a pain in the ass to get that nut on and off. I've come to find out. So we're going to turn that one into a plug.
and basically get rid of this guy so that he can just plug right into there. And then if I do have to remove this for any reason whatsoever, I just unplug it. I'm also gonna tie in this guy. He's gonna go to this here blue wire that I had pre-wired into my dash when I did all that. You guys can see the video on that under the build. Alright, moving right along. Alright, here we are. I got all my fuel lines hooked back up. They're loose here. I don't have the actual throttle in the Jeep hooked up. We'll just do it that way. I have everything wired up, which, you know, it's a one wire engine. I got my timing indicators pulled out. My fuel line hooked up, my return lines hooked up. Let's see if it pumps fuel. I see fuel. I was starting to get worried there for a minute. Give me a minute to tighten up my fuel lines. Let's see if we fix this fucking thing. Alright, time to vomit. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it, but I had to quit running it because it smokes like a good diesel should. But yeah, I'm pretty tickled with that. All I gotta do is put everything back on now, like the the oil checker tube. I don't know, dipstick tube. That's what you call it. Gotta hook my throttle back up. And put that plate back on so I can hook everything back up. Very, very good. Very, very good. It sucks I had to spend so much money to get a new one. But, yeah, what are you going to do? Nothing. I mean, there's nothing I could do. We'll see if our cold start switch helps too. Alright. I think that's lunch. Alright, first cold start since yesterday. Go ahead, buddy. Oh, what was that? I don't know, try it again. Job done? Your job is done. All I gotta do is put the pipes back on, move your mom's car out of the way, kick this sucker out of the garage.
the tires this thing used to shake a lot more. Huh. Let's take it for a ride. So, my lens is really dirty, but everything seems to be running alright. We got nothing going on, it's very crazy. And I gotta say, while it doesn't seem a lot more powerful, it does seem to come on a lot smoother, and it definitely sounds different. I mean, yeah, again, you'll never convince this or confuse this for your, sled pulling truck, but it's pretty good. I like driving this thing. I got more plans for it though. That's coming up in another video. About time some of my projects started helping me pay for other projects, get them along, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'm probably going to end the video here. It is Christmas Eve 2025. I'll try to get this edited tonight. And if I don't, or if you don't find it till next year, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy